Bit cheeky really, having my coffee up on the FISA stand in the press room. It's where all the big wigs in FISA sit, and the reason I'm up here is because I thought I'd talk a little bit about a very important election that's happening on Monday. It's the election for the FISA President. FISA don't get that many presidents. I think Tommy Keller was president up until 1989 for around 30 years. And Dennis Oswald, Switzerland's International Olympic Committee member, has been president for 25 years or so, since 1989. And Dennis is standing for the presidency of the IOC. He's standing down as FISA President this year, which means that rowing's going to have a new president, maybe a new direction, because Dennis Oswald has done a fantastic job. Who are the three choices? Well, the first choice, and Dennis Oswald's favoured candidate, is Jean-Christophe Hollande. And those of you that don't know JC, big mate of mine. In fact, all the candidates are pretty much mates of mine. They're really nice people. Here's JC, stroke of the French Olympic pair that won that sensational race in Sydney in 2000. JC is an incredibly passionate man, an incredibly dedicated worker for the sport of rowing. He's still amazing on the ergometer. In fact, his ergometer scores could probably beat a lot of rowers in the national team. He's got a big vision for the future of the sport. He really wants to make international connections and ensure the future of the sport within the Olympic movement, and for that there may have to be some changes. He's obviously, being French, very favoured by the European candidates. He's the youngest of the three candidates as well, and that may sway with some delegates. The second candidate is Tricia Smith. Tricia hasn't got a leaflet, but she's got a great video, and I'll post a link for that on Twitter. She medalled in the '84 Olympics. She's been a real stalwart for the Women's Commission, Canadian by birth, and she's had a really high profile on women's issues within FISA. And as we know, women are really growing in our sport, and that factor may weigh heavily with some of the delegates when they look at Tricia's candidature. Again, Tricia wants to make our sport really attractive and promote it and help federations get sponsorship. And the third candidate is Bolts, another great mate of mine. And Bolts has got one of these natty little brochures. This is John Boltby here. John Boltby, I think he threw his hat in the ring rather late, but very clever candidature. He's supported by John Coates, who's the International Olympic Committee from Australia. Bolts has been very shrewd. Here's one of his little leaflets. You can see he's printed out 6 versions, and this one's in Russian. He speaks a lot of languages himself as chairman of the Competitive Commission. He's really well known in rowing, sports lawyer for the Court of Arbitration for Sport, the IOC. He's a great bloke. He's really helped me out on a lot of occasions, and many rowers. So he's really well known. And interestingly enough, he's prepared to look at how the Rowing Federation FISA can maybe make it cheaper for to have less exposure, financial exposure for the federations that host World Cup regattas. He too wants to make a big point, like Jean-Christophe Hollande, of maintaining rowing's Olympic status. Both of them see they've got the contacts to do that. It remains to be seen what the delegates will think. 3 great candidates. It would be very hard to pick one that would be really great, but the delegates at the FISA Congress on Monday will have to do that. Who will be our future president? What will the future of our sport be like? We'll know on Monday.